Hello and welcome to Farm Professional 2013, although it's actually 2014. This is a farming simulator that's just come out on Steam, and in the following video we're just going to have a quick look at this compared to Farming Simulator 2013, which you may have seen on my channel. I did a load of tutorials on baling hay, producing corn, using the harvester and such on, but this is the new version that's come out by a different company. Slightly different to the other one, but similar in many ways as well. So in the following video I'm going to give you a few of my thoughts on this new farming game. So let's get farming. Now if you're new to these type of games, the game is pretty much as the title says, it's a farming simulator. Which means you have to plough the fields, you have to cultivate the fields, fertilise them, plant your crops, and then you have to use harvesters and other things like that to, say for corn, to cut the corn down, and then you have to transfer the corn into a trailer to take to the silos, which you can then take to the market. And obviously you have to collect the straw, I think they call it, that's been cut from the wheat. That has to be put into bales, which you can then feed to animals, and so on and so on. So it actually becomes, in some way, sort of a micromanagement of your time as the seasons change. Now, the difference between this and the farming simulator from another company is that this game actually has deferred terrain, which means there are hills, there are rocks and things like that in the fields, whereas the previous one, every field was completely flat. So this one takes a bit more skill to use, especially when you're trying to turn around with some of these attachments on the back, and the whole environment is a lot more interesting. This is your little GPA, and this is actually the career mode. So as you can see, these things underneath I have already done, and the tutorial I'm probably about 2-3 hours in now, because for the first year, I should actually mention, there are actually seasons in this game as well compared to the previous game. So there's winter, spring, summer, and this affects the actual game. There is a full 24-hour night cycle, and there is weather as well, which will actually affect the crops that you're producing. As I was saying before, the actual environments are a lot more rich. There's a lot more details in these environments than there is in Farming Simulator 2013. As you finish each mission, should we say mission, it's not really a mission, but the first one was there that I had to plough the field, there's then a marker in the world to tell you where to go. Now, who's going to play this sort of game? This is not going to be... how can I put this? If you like your simulation games and you want a game that's actually relaxing, this is not an exciting game, it's a relaxing game, a bit of a thinking man's game. And later on in the game it does become all about time management as you start to look after the animals as well, because obviously they need feeding every day. But then you've got to, you want to, say there's a frost coming on the weather, then you want to get the crops in and all this sort of stuff, fertiliser and pesticides and all this. So there is actually a huge amount of thinking to be done as you get further into the game. The game does hold your hand quite a lot as you get used to it. Now, everything's not rosy down on the farm, unfortunately, in this version. The game supposedly does support the 360 pad, but it's only for driving forward and aiming where you want to go. Everything else you have to use on the keyboard, so it's kind of a mishmash between the pad and the keyboard, which is... the developers have said on Steam that they are going to bring out more support for the 360 pad, which would be brilliant. Because at the minute it's the Z key to change direction between forward and back. You have to move the camera angle with your mouse. You can go into the cab by clicking your mouse button. It's just a real pain, and I hope this is something that they're actually going to look into. Which also makes reversing quite a pain as well, having to mess around with the keys when you just want to come back and actually attach this cultivator. The cultivator is something that we put over the land to basically smooth it all out for seeding and fertilising once we've actually ploughed. Now, speaking of problems with the game is a little bit buggy at this stage. There is a big topic on Steam, people commenting on a lot of things, such as sometimes when you go back to the field, let's say you've planted a crop, you go back to the field and it's completely barren again, but the problem is it is actually there, but the actual textures of the crop and everything have disappeared Really frustrating because trying to harvest things such as in the Combine Harvester, you can't actually see what you're harvesting apart from on the minimap. Other little things are, there's quite a lot of pop-up, if I'm honest. Now I'm running a SLI system GTX 580, so I should be able to rip this a new arsehole this game. Again, I don't know whether it's an optimization issue or whether it's a problem with the game, but again, hopefully these will get looked at because the developers have said they will look at it. As you can see, it actually looks really quite nice. It's actually coming towards sunset now, so the game's getting a little bit darker. And we'll actually go out into the field and we'll cultivate it in the dark in a minute. In my next video, I shall actually probably show you the Combine Harvester as well. We don't have a huge amount of options in here. In fact, it's very, very simplistic. When you actually start up the game for the first time, you do get the option of your resolution and anti-aliasing and things like that, but it's not actually here in the game. Audio in the game, especially for the actual vehicles, again, is not very convincing. Not something. It just doesn't sound realistic. It sounds like a bus that's running on idle. There's no, difference in the power. You've got several gears that you can change up and down, and then there is like a sub shifter for each gear as well. But there's no real sound to make you feel immersed in the audio, which is a real shame. We're not talking dice here. Having said all these, excuse me, all these problems with the game, there is something inherently relaxing about this game. And once you actually start to cultivate the fields and plough them, it's almost like an OCD takes over you. You want these fields to be neat and straight, and in that way the immersion is really quite good. You want to obviously get the highest yield you can from each field. So let's sum up really what do I think of this game compared to the previous game. I would say at its current state it is a little bit buggy, and hopefully if the developers look into it and they update these problems, the game I think will be really enjoyable. The difference between this and Farming Simulator 2013 is this feels more realistic. It actually feels like you're farming. I don't know why that is. It's a lot more difficult. There's no auto farming in this, although you can hire workers, they're just invisible, which is a shame. It just feels like you're putting more effort into this once you're actually involved on the field. So I guess in a way it is more of a simulator than the previous one. Spit and polish, it's difficult to tell at this stage. Obviously there are a few bugs with the crops on the fields and things like that. But if you're looking for a game that's just relaxing to play, that's something completely different that you've probably not got in your folder, Origin or Steam, probably got shooters and adventure games, then I'd probably highly recommend it. Just take it slow, take it easy. There is a tutorial to guide you through it, and have a look at 2013 as well. It's a little bit more handheld, a little bit more arcadey. But so far I'm barring the bugs, I am enjoying this, and I can't wait to get back out, get the Combine out and start harvesting. If you've got any questions on this game, or on any of the previous videos that I did for the other game, let me know in the comments below and I'll get back in touch. At the minute this is on $14.99 on Steam. Definitely worth a look if you're into something different. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos coming soon. I've been Para. Hey up farmer, get off my land. Adios.